Hey, so I don't know about you, but I have been feeling not great. So whether it is ascension symptoms or whether it's my neurological stuff because of the parasites, the viruses, the bacteria, it's been a couple of days of the dizziness, of the moments of vertigo. So like my worst nightmares, right? When I get the dizziness or the vertigo, if you've ever had it before, like true vertigo, you know how disempowering it is because it completely, totally takes you out. Like you can't do much at all. Sometimes, walking is difficult. And so I know right now because I can feel it in my physical body, and I have been learning so much about my physical body, for so long. I know that my viral load is high right now. I know that the viral activity is high in my body right now. And for me, it happens to go to where I have the weakness, where what body system is the weakest on me, and that is my neurological system. So here's the thing I want to talk about, and this is the question that I was going to start off with, because when I feel into what's going on and why I'm feeling this, what the purpose of it is, it wasn't feeling really simple. It wasn't feeling, okay, it's just viruses and that's all it is. Just do your, it wasn't feeling like that. It was feeling complicated. And when I felt into it further, I got the question to ask, is the dark trying to take us out? Now, such a loaded question, right? Is the dark trying to take us out? Now, here's the thing I want to talk to you guys about. This planet is having a spiritual war. It has been since the beginning of time. Right now, we're in the peak of it. We are in the peak of this spiritual war that's happening on the planet. And I'm using the word spiritual because, again, it's part of the ascension. But what it is it's really a frequency war. It is a war about frequencies. And so remember, there is power in energy, right? And we are all energy sources. We all individually are beacons of light that carry energy. And so because of this, that means that we are something that the dark seeks out for power, because they can literally drain our energies like batteries, and they can utilize the power that we hold, the light that we hold. And so one of the ways that they can do this is they can do this by utilizing viruses as weapons against us. Now, I know that this might feel a little like a conspiracy theory or a little bit out there, but if you take some time and you really look into how viruses work and where they came from and how they multiply, and if you look into all of that and the effects that they have on the physical body, and then if you pull it all together, you really will get a understanding of how something that is simple can be turned against us and used as a weapon for control, a weapon for domination, a weapon to take away our power. And so here's the thing that I really, really want to get across with this, though, is that we know, I'm sure you know, that there's dark on this planet. There's always been dark on this planet. There are horrific, hideous crimes that are committed every second of every moment on this planet. It's happening. It's been happening. It's always been happening. Now, if we take our focus and we put our focus on the darkness, does it destroy the darkness or lessen the darkness or stop the evil? And the answer to that is no. It actually has the opposite effect to us. It actually lowers our frequency and then gives them more power. And it does this because when we focus on the dark or on the horrific stuff, when we focus on that, it drops our frequency into a state of fear. It drops our frequency into a state of being vulnerable. And it's in that vulnerability that the dark can infiltrate. Does that make sense to you guys? And this, I'm not, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not woo-woo. This is actuality. And because the dark understands this, the dark understands that when they put stuff on the media, when they put stuff on the news, when there's stuff that's being put in social media, when that stuff is being put out there, they know that when we watch it, when we see it, we hear it, we feel it, it changes our frequency. It puts us into a lowered frequency state. Now, is it possible that we can be activated, that the viruses within us can be activated when we come in contact with a lower frequency source? I believe so. I believe that that can happen. And is it possible that these activations turn things on in us? I think so. I believe it. I honestly, at this point, don't doubt anything, because anything is possible. So knowing that and having that knowing, do we have to be afraid? Do we have to hide? Do we have to run away? Do we have to fight? And the answer is no. Here's what we have to do. We have got to continually ignite the light within ourselves. We do this by being kind, being compassionate, coming from a loving place. We do this by being kind and loving and compassionate to others. And this is not sticking our head in the sand and ignoring all of the evil that's happening on the planet. It's not about doing that. It's about being smart enough and intelligent enough to know that it's going on, and it's going to go on regardless of whether you are focusing on it and allowing it to drain your light, or whether you're rising above it and allowing your light to prosper within. Does that make sense? And here's the thing I want you guys to know, and this is, I say this to my teenage daughter the most, but it's not possible for you to call somebody a name or be negative towards somebody without you taking on that frequency and you becoming part of that vibrational energy, right? It's just like you can't walk through a field that's full of horse manure and not get your feet dirty. Does that make sense? So it's in the same idea that if we bring our focus and attention to the dark stuff that's happening on the planet, if we bring our focus and our attention to the ideas about viruses being activated within our body and using them as weapons against us, if we bring our focus and our attention to that, it would take an ascended master's intelligence and lightness to be able to do that and not be affected by it. And I always say there are no ascended masters among us here, not in the 3D realm, not on this earth plane. So we need to be mindful of how we use our sources of information, right? And so be really mindful of who you're following, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to. All of that stuff is going to affect your frequency. It's all going to affect your light. And really, really have the understanding and knowing that, so even though I have the knowing that, this viral flare that I'm having, could it be from the dark trying to infiltrate? It could be. Could it be I ate a salad that had some bad bacteria in it and now it just activated my viral load? It could be. I'm going to not focus on any of that, but instead just focus on the ways to heal myself through light, in the light, and then do my best to keep my mind, my attention, my awareness in the light. Does that make sense to you guys? And I can tell you firsthand, when we were, a few years ago when we had the stuff with the truckers happening in Ottawa, right? All that. And we actually went there to the demonstrations there with my family. And I can remember thinking that we were doing something good because we were being part of history. And we were going there to support them because they had a good cause. But I can tell you that it literally felt like I was being taken out after that. Like literally, like I was being targeted energetically because of that. And it wasn't because I just went there, and it wasn't because it was because I was thinking about it and I was watching the stuff online, and it wasn't possible for me to watch the stuff online and to think about it without my vibration lowering, without my frequency lowering. And when your frequency lowers, you become an object of attack. You become vulnerable. Now, I'm giving you this information, and I'm taking this information for myself because I need to hear it more and more, because I still hold a lot of fear within my vibration. I'm working on healing that and releasing it. So I need to remind myself when something's coming up and I can feel that it's more than just this. I need to remind myself it doesn't help me to think about the possibilities. It doesn't help me to feel into what it's coming from. The thing that helps me the most is to maintain my light. At all costs, to maintain my light. And so let me know in the comments what you do and what you feel is the most powerful things that you can do to keep your light going. Maybe it's prayer, maybe it's meditation, maybe it's acts of kindness. Every single little thing that we do that is done from our heart builds the light within us. And that is how we shift and we change things on this planet. Not by going to war with it, not by creating resistance to it, not by going into fear with it, but by building the light within us. And then that light has a ripple effect that is more powerful than any war could ever be. Sending you guys huge blessings.